Good afternoon everyone, my name is Fawaz, and today I'll be doing my ISSE presentation that will be to fix 5 errors which will help you and your devices to be secure and prevent any data breaches. So let's begin. Our first error is to ensure allow input personalization is set to disabled. So basically, if this setting is not configured, sensitive information like staff email, staff password and staff addresses could actually be stored in your cloud and sent to Microsoft. So when Microsoft collects this, they could actually know your staff's password and numbers and home address. So as such, your staff's information is at risk as others actually knows it and not only kept confidential to you. So let's fix this error to be disabled. So let's go to our ensure allow input personalization, and then let's open our GP edit. Then we want to make sure that this thing is set to disabled. So let's carry on. Then over here we're going to set it to disabled and apply, and yeah, so that's for the first error. Now let's head back to our second error. So the second error is to actually enable insecure guest logons is set to disabled. So insecure guest logons are actually used by file servers to allow unauthenticated access to shared folders. So even though it's uncommon in an enterprise environment, insecure guest logons are frequently used by consumer network attached storage and acting as file servers. So usually these insecure guest logons are unauthorized, and important security features such as SMB signing and encryption are disabled. As a result, clients that allows insecure guest logons are vulnerable to a man-in-the-middle attack, which will actually bring in malware and viruses and could result in data loss to your data. So as such, this error should be set to disabled. So now let's carry on with that. We're gonna go to the error, and then let's follow this again. This time it's under network, Laman workstation. Then as you can see, enable insecure guest logons, we got to set it to disabled. Apply, and yeah, that's all for the second error. Now let's head on to the third error. So the third error is basically to ensure prohibit installation and configuration of network bridge on your DNS domain network is set to enabled. So if this setting is not configured, right, users could actually create a MAC bridge, and if you enable them to connect to 2 or more physical network segments together. So if a computer is allowed to do that, it allows network traffic to, by right it should only allow it to control network traffic to only authorized path, but instead it will actually allow users to create a network bridge which will increase the risk and attack surface from the bridged network. As such, there's a more vulnerable chance of getting a man-in-the-middle attack, which could lead to your data being retrieved or erased by the hackers. As such, we should enable this setting so that it could protect your sensitive data. So let's carry on with that. I'm going to go to ensure this. Then let's go open our GP edit. Then this time we're going to go to network connections, and then prohibit installation and configuration on the domain network. So let's enable this, and yeah, so that's all for the third error. Now let's head back to the fourth one. So our fourth error is basically to ensure prohibit connection to non-domain networks when connected to domain authenticator network is set to enabled. So what this error means is that if this setting is not configured, users would actually unknowingly allow network traffic to flow between the insecure public network and your managed office network. So when there's 2 networks available, it could actually create a loophole for potential hackers through the networks and through the insecure networks, and could actually allow hackers to flow in and could attack your devices with malware or retrieve information such as your database information, whatever is stored in the enterprise servers. So as such, we have to enable this setting. So let's carry on with that. So it's under ensure prohibit connection to non-domain network. Alright, and this time I'm going to open up our GP edit, and we're going to go to Windows Connection Manager, and you can see prohibit connection to non-domain networks. We want to make sure that this setting is set to enabled. So let's enable this and apply, and yeah, so that's all for the fourth error. Now let's finish off our last error. So our last error is actually to ensure that we block users from showing account details on sign-in is set to enable. So what this setting is basically means is that an attacker could actually have an access to the console, for example, someone with physical access or someone who is able to connect to the server through terminal services, could actually view the names of the last user who logged onto the server. So as such, they could then try to guess the password or use a dictionary or use a brute force attack and try to log on. And if the logon is successful, they could actually gain information such as your device information, whatever is stored in your devices. Or there's another way this could happen is when an intruder enters your building, and as they walk past your devices, they could actually see your email from without having to log in or anything. So with that, they could also try to use a brute force attack or a dictionary, and they could try to guess your password, and as a result they could ultimately get into your device, and which will lead to information loss, and that's not what we want. We want to keep our information private and secure. So let's fix this error. So I go to ensure block users from showing, and then let's open our GP edit. Then we are going to go to system and then log on, and then here we see we can like block user from showing account details on signing. We're going to set this to enabled and then apply, and yeah, so with that we're done with the 5 errors. Now let me rerun the assessment to show that all of the errors have passed. Alright, welcome back. So now we could review our report. So let's check the 5 errors and see if it's passed. So our first error, ensure allow input personalization, is passed now. Our enable insecure guest logon is also passed. Our prohibit installation and configuration of DNS network is passed. Also, our prohibit connection to non-domain networks is also a pass. And last but not the least is our block users from showing account details on signing is also a pass. So now, with all those pass, let me give you a conclusion on why these errors are important. So in conclusion, these steps actually aim to address the importance of security and how security is very pivotal in a company's reputation. So if a company's security is not that good and it could actually lead to a lot of data breaches, then its reputation drops and the company wouldn't do well in the market. So as such, the company will not face any damage or loss in data if followed these steps. They could also reduce the number of cyber attacks, and it will be able to operate in ease and peace without worrying about cyber attacks that much. It's also highly recommended of you to follow these preventive measures, as it will be good and lasting shield against hackers and attacks. If these steps are followed correctly, you could actually prevent a lot of data breaches and a lot of information to be lost from you and your company. As such, I would like to conclude my presentation, and thank you very much for everyone.